Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Ali. Welcome back to my world of stocks. I was a bit sick this past couple weeks, but I'm feeling a little bit better now, so can't wait to make more videos for you guys. Now, I do want to also welcome you guys back to our Ask Ali series, where I take a question or a request from the audience and I make a video for it. And so in today's video, we'll be answering Jose's question from the video suggestions tab in our community Discord, where he says, can you please do a video about your favorite cybersecurity stocks for the future? Even if you don't own them, just curious what some good options are to look into. I think it will become a more important market in the future. Thank you. And so, of course, and thank you, Jose, by the way, I appreciate the awesome question. And I also, of course, appreciate you supporting the channel. It means a lot to me. So thank you for that. And great question here. I agree with you very heavily on your take of cybersecurity. I think it'll definitely grow into a much larger market over time as the world becomes even more digitalized, and especially from the rise of artificial intelligence, machine learning, data management, heck, even the metaverse, all areas that I think will need to be extremely secured and protected, not just within those markets themselves, but even in just how AI, for example, might even be used by hackers and bad actors to create stronger cyber attacks and phishing scams in the future and all that kind of bad stuff. So cybersecurity will need to evolve and keep up with that, and we're going to need to see some big players in that market step up and grow out their technologies as those threats become even larger over time. In fact, last year alone, we saw a record number of data breaches affecting over 350 million victims, which was an increase of almost 80% year over year. And because of that, a recent survey by Gartner Research showed that the area of technology with the largest amount of increased investment among companies was actually cybersecurity. Guys, that's even ahead of cloud, AI, and more. How crazy is that? And in total, by 2025, Forbes estimates that the total damage from cybersecurity could reach a mind-blowing $10 trillion, which at just around a 10 to 20% penetration, McKinsey estimates a long-term addressable market worth at least $1 trillion, if not more, in the future too. So yeah, guys, this is a giant market opportunity here that we're talking about. And to answer Jose's question more directly, well, I'm going to list off for you guys 5 of my favorite cybersecurity stocks in the space at the moment right now. And I tried to pick some various different options here. I added some variety so that, in case you don't like one option, maybe you like a different one. So I added some kind of different options in the space. And this will include some stocks that I already own myself and some that I do not own, at least not yet. But I'll share my opinions and my thoughts on every single one of these. It's going to be a ton of fun. These are all stocks that I very much like for the future, and I can't wait to share them with you. So let's just dive straight into this list. All right, for my first pick here, well, I can't think of a better way to kick things off than with my own largest investment in Microsoft, ticker symbol MSFT, which I know it may not immediately grab your attention for their work in cybersecurity, but the fact of the matter is that overall, Microsoft will be one of the most important players in that market well into the future, as they not only facilitate it through their Windows operating system that powers more computers than any other OS in the world, and Azure, which is the second largest cloud platform in the world, both of which will be used to run cybersecurity on or through. But all the meanwhile, Microsoft has also been, kind of somewhat quietly building up their own cybersecurity tools and services, even integrating their Copilot generative AI across enterprise, business, and personal use at various price points for cybersecurity. For example, Microsoft Defender sells for $3 a month per employee for business, while the upgraded $22 offering bundles together much of their other apps and services like Office, Copilot, and more. It just makes the whole package more attractive. There's even multi-cloud security, where Azure offers DDoS protection, information, app, and data protection, and even confidential ledgers, as well as Defender for the Internet of Things as well. All of these offerings are a direct result of a recent $20 billion investment that Microsoft threw at cybersecurity, which is already showing great returns for them, as their cybersecurity division has now turned into a $20 billion annual revenue driver for the company. In terms of total market share, well, guys, Gartner estimates that Microsoft already commands the 7th largest market share in the entire space there. How crazy is that? Nobody ever even talks about it when they mention Microsoft. Anyway, the stock price itself has never really been cheap, as it usually breaks new record highs in most years, but for that price, I do feel that you get unbelievable performance in return that I think is worth investing in long term. I mean, how many other companies can you think of that do over 200 billion in sales, over 70 billion in pure net income profit, and that is still managing to somehow grow at a double-digit rate? Microsoft is like no other, and even when it comes to cybersecurity, it's just another great stock worth considering. Moving on to cybersecurity stock number 2 though, well, if I'm looking for a more pure play option in that market, then I would look no further than Palo Alto Networks, ticker symbol PANW, as they're actually the market leader and the only one to reach about a double-digit percent. But it's not just size and leadership that Palo carries, it's also amazing momentum for that size, which is highlighted in Canalys global cybersecurity leadership matrix, where Palo dominates both categories. The reason for that is largely due to their investments in AI and machine learning that are now automating the process of detecting online threats much faster and more efficiently than a human counterpart ever could, while also fueling their unique multi-platform strategy consisting of Prisma, Cortex, Strata, and Unit that together gives customers more choice and simplicity over their own platform security needs. As a result, while most other cybersecurity companies are either bleeding money, struggling for growth, or carry insanely expensive valuations, Palo, as the market leader, has actually shown improvements on all three fronts, going from negative net income to now positive last year, revenue growth in the double digits despite what has been one of the worst macro economies we've ever seen, and a valuation that, while I grant you is still pretty expensive, it at least carries a reasonable PEG ratio that is only slightly higher than the sector and actually a little bit cheaper than their own 5-year average as well. Again, that's because they just now started turning a profit, which should translate to very high growth on the bottom line over the coming years, and that's exactly what a PEG ratio shows. Now, I did already choose Palo Alto in my 2023 AI stocks to buy video, and since then the stock has more than doubled in price, which I admit does make it a little more risky, kind of scary to buy at these higher levels. But if you're looking for something a lot cheaper, then I would actually go with stock number 3 instead. And that is Cisco, ticker symbol CSCO, who, being a much older company than their peers, especially, in cybersecurity, it was founded in the early 1980s. Well, it's probably the one on this list that has the hardest business to kind of grow. However, it makes up for that with size, value, stability, reputation, leadership, and of course the profits that come along with all of that. Being the third largest market share leader who sits near the bottom of the matrix on momentum, but almost leads the entire pack on leadership. And while most cybersecurity companies actually lose a lot of money on the bottom line, well, Cisco consistently generates over $10 billion in net income profit year after year. That's because Cisco's computer networking business really helped establish today's internet that everyone loves to use, with also many of their routers and switches connecting most computers around the world. However, top-line growth has not been anything to brag about, but they have at least invested into new growth initiatives to address that, particularly pushing heavier into software, including a recent acquisition of Splunk, which was their largest acquisition in history, who I've actually included in other stocks to buy videos before the acquisition was even announced. I used to praise them a lot, but now that Cisco owns them, well, I just think that it makes the entire package even more attractive, as Splunk is an AI and cybersecurity software specialist in their own right, specifically in threat prevention before it even happens, which Cisco CEO noted in the acquisition, saying that it now makes them one of the largest software companies in the world as they both power and protect the AI revolution, adding that the merger will help prevent cybersecurity threats and limit downtime for customers across the digital, physical, and AI-powered worlds. And that, quote, to truly reap the benefits of AI, organizations need the infrastructure to power it, the data to develop it, a security platform to protect it, and an observability platform to monitor and manage it all in real time, which the acquisition will now help them provide, as it helps transform the company from simply threat detection and response to now threat prediction and prevention. Long term, I think it'll boost Cisco's software as a service business model too, which should help drive greater profitability and steady income over time and make the stock just that much more attractive. And yet, despite all those positives, the stock has actually lost about a quarter of its value from the top, leaving one of the cheapest valuations you'll ever find in the cybersecurity space, not only trading for a PE ratio that is 45% cheaper than the sector, but it's also significantly lower than pretty much every single peer in the space. I don't own Cisco stock myself, but I'm actually thinking about buying it very soon, especially since it also yields an attractive dividend above 3% with a low payout ratio and a double-digit growth rate. There's not much to complain about when it comes to Cisco, and I think you'll see it in my portfolio too very soon. One stock that I do already own though, and that I've been extremely happy with over the past year, well, that is stock number 4, and that is Palantir Technologies, ticker symbol PLTR, who, like Microsoft, it may not immediately catch your attention as a cybersecurity specialist. However, cybersecurity is really at the core of everything that Palantir does. As a data management specialist that uses artificial intelligence and machine learning to serve not just other companies, but even government entities, including military defense and intelligence agencies, where data security needs to be an extremely top priority. It probably more so there than anywhere else. And so Palantir has leveraged their expertise in data management to bring all of a client's data together into their unified platform, where they then use AI to rapidly analyze the massive amounts of data and comb through it all using algorithms and machine learning to detect any threats or anomalies before creating cluster charts and heat maps of anything that looks suspicious, which it can then take further action on. And by noticing that commercial institutions tend to face a shared set of cyber threats, Palantir also created a cyber mesh platform that secures all the information shared between peers, something that they've built up using similar models within the defense and intelligence communities for automatic redaction of sensitive data whenever any suspicious activity or outside access is detected. There's also even their EVM platform, Enterprise Vulnerability Management, that provides network defenders with Palantir AI for discovering, understanding, and remediating cyber vulnerabilities. And look, there's tons of other examples just like this that I could run through, but my point is that Palantir is already a trusted name in the space, consistently being ranked #1 in areas of AI, data science, and machine learning, while also being awarded giant contracts with the government and the military and defense. And because of it, I think commercial enterprises will also trust Palantir much more than maybe other competitors to securely handle all of their precious data too. You know, guys, it's often said that data is the new gold rush of the current age. And well, you gotta keep that data safe while using it. And that's exactly what Palantir is known for. In fact, their information security division sums it up best here, stating, "Given the critical work performed on our platforms, information security is our lifeblood, with 3 core objectives: to make Palantir safer, to make our customers safer, and to make the world safer." Adding that our customers rely on Palantir to power their most critical work, and we're dedicated to building platforms that they can trust. Well, we continue to see the results of all this, with last quarter alone seeing a 40% rise in US commercial revenue, a nearly 70% rise in customer count, and over 130 new deals closed, which was almost double the amount year over year. Meanwhile, profitability continues to rise, with 6 quarters in a row now of positive GAAP net income, resulting in a PEG ratio that is actually 25% cheaper than the sector, if you can believe it. And that's because their net income is only just starting to grow, and it will become much larger over time in the future. And while the stock has already climbed a lot over the past year, it's at least dipped about 15% this past week, leaving a nice little dip here to jump in for anyone not yet in the stock. Finishing off though with stock number 5, well, if I still haven't mentioned a single individual stock that you find attractive enough in this space, well then maybe why not, consider an ETF that brings together some of the top names in cybersecurity into one singular investment. Well, here's a list of some of the largest cybersecurity ETFs, and while I personally prefer handpicking my stocks one by one myself, if I was forced to choose one of these ETFs, I would probably go with the iShares Cybersecurity and Tech ETF, ticker symbol IHAK, as you would expect, IHAK, which I feel is the most well-rounded of the bunch. First of all, iShares are issued by BlackRock, which is the largest asset management company in the world, and so they tend to be much larger, more stable, liquid, and reliable because of that, with this one in particular carrying over $780 million of assets under management, with one of the cheapest expense ratios of the bunch and also the second largest number of holdings, which at 40 individual stocks, it's also not too large to be overwhelming either. It's just kind of the sweet spot there. Speaking of which, those holdings also include some of my favorite names in the space, including CrowdStrike at number 1, as well as Okta, Fortinet, and Palo Alto, all within the top 15. But with each of them only making up around 5% or less weight, the entire ETF is also pretty well balanced, and even a little diversified too, with several names in security adjacent areas like AI, cloud computing, networking, and even hardware equipment. The ETF only recently launched a few years ago, but has already nearly doubled in size, and my gut tells me that it'll likely grow larger in the future too. But anyway, that'll do it for my top picks here. Let me know what you all think about these stocks and that one ETF. Let me know if you happen to like any of these. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below, or if there's any other stocks that you think I should have included, drop them in the comment section. Maybe I can talk about them in a future video. Anyway, thanks again for your support. Thank you for stopping by, my friends. I hope you're all doing well, and I will catch you in the next one. Sorry again if I sounded a little off. I'm still kind of recovering from being sick, but thanks again for all your support, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.